Welcome to the Long Run with Joel and Christy. I'm Joel.
And I'm Christy.
What are we doing today?
Today we wanted to talk to you about something that everybody's thinking about right now, right? How inflation is affecting their family. We want to give a little shout out that we got this idea from Dawn from Sensible Living with Money Mom, who is currently recovering from a car accident. We're praying for you, Dawn. But in her video, she talked about how it affected her. And then she had gotten the idea from Lydia Sin, who also gave how it was affecting her family personally. So Lydia Sin has a mortgage and Dawn has paid off her home. And so for us, we rent. So we thought it might be interesting for our viewers to see maybe how it affects people who rent.
Yep.
So let's talk about how it affects renters.
Yep. All right, so we broke this down into 4 different categories. One was household expenses, which includes rent, electricity, and water. And we'll break those down by category. Also, our grocery spending, gas for our vehicle, and amenities. And the only thing we included in that was our cell phone bill. Yep. So those are the categories we're going to look at and the areas we're going to look at.
Right.
All right, so for rent, now for the first 5 months of last year, now
we're looking at January to May in both 2021 and January to May in 2022, so that we can look at those differences. That way we're controlling the variables. Hopefully.
Yeah. So for January 2021 through April of 2021, we lived in a different townhome. And so we moved in May of 2022, and the rent was
May of 2021.
Yeah, May of 2021, and the rent was a little bit higher than it was for our previous place. It was smaller. It was
the old townhome was
area.
smaller and more outdated.
And so we're not going to be comparing the first 5 months on rent, just because that wouldn't be a good comparison.
Different townhouse.
Totally different situation. So we're just going to tell you what we started at with rent in May of 2021 and what we're paying now but by May of 2022.
Right. Okay? The lease agreement for 2021 and the lease agreement for 2022.
Yeah. So the lease agreement for 2021 was $1,850 for a 2-bedroom townhome in Orlando, and then when we signed the new lease, it went up by $100 to $1,950, which is what we're paying now. So over the course of a year, it went up by $100 on your rent. So if you're renting right now, drop us a comment below. Let us know if your rent's going up. Also under household expenses, in 2021, our average between January and May was $197.03. Now we do budget billing, which means we don't pay lower in the wintertime and higher in the summer. We pay a set amount every 3 months, and they look at this every 3 months and they adjust it up or down based on usage. And so we're not hit with big spikes in the summer and lower in the winter. We pay pretty much a set amount the entire year. And for 2022, between January and May, it was $200 even. So our difference was $2.97. So our electricity's gone up on average about $3 year over year from last year. And then our water bill in 2021 between January and May was $57.49 per month. That was the average. And then in 2022, it was $70.71 for a difference of $13.22. Now, I need to make a caveat on that because we realized that we had a leak in one of our toilets, and so the water in the tank would go down, the water would leak out, and then it would fill back up, and it was doing that several times a day. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, how did you not realize that? Well, it was the upstairs bathroom, and I'm not in the bathroom 24 hours a day, although some people may think I am.
I didn't say that.
So anyway, that's the reason. So I bought a new flapper for the toilet tank, and I replaced it and now our bill has gone back down to about the same level that it was, a little bit less than what it was before. But our average, because of that leak, was a little bit higher than what it would have been normally. So that's a good thing. If you hear one of your toilets running, filling back up and running more than normal, you might want to check that and make sure that you're not losing money you're not flushing money down the drain.
Or if you notice your water bill went up, don't assume it was inflation. Go make sure nothing is leaking in your house.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right, so let's move on to groceries. In 2021, from January to May of 2021, our average was $419.56. And so our average for 2022, between January and May, was $335.89, which is a savings of $83.67 average over those 5 months year over year.
Per month, we've saved $83.
Yeah. So
so there's a lot of reasons for that. We will link down in the description many times that we have discussed things like why it's important to price compare, to do the math in the stores, checking, to giving generics a chance, and also not assuming that bulk or generic is the best price. That's why the price comparing and doing the math comes into play, is because there are certain instances where that isn't true. So be sure to check out those playlists down in the description so you can see what we're talking about, because just learning that has saved us a lot of money. Also, we are just pulling back on some of the things that we buy. Like, for instance, Joel, like when we first started our channel, he was getting 2 bags of Cheetos a week, or it was 1 bag of Cheetos and 1 bag of Fritos. Then he decreased it where he was only eating 1 bag per week, and now he's down to where he only eats half a bag per week. So decreasing your snacking helps, buying less convenience items, making sure you're meal planning, all those kind of things have really helped us. Another new thing that we have really noticed going on a lot in the stores lately is that their labels in the store right below their product, which, by the way, don't believe the unit cost is correct, always do math, but also just don't believe the label itself. What we have found is that when you, like if it has an app to scan, if you scan it, it might show a different price. You need to be checking that, because when you get to the register, it's going to be a shock when things cost more than you thought they did. And the reason why was because they didn't change the label, but they did in their system. So be sure to be checking that. And if you're in a store that doesn't have apps like that, keep your eye on that register. Don't take your eye off, because that way you can stop them if you see something ringing up different than you thought it was going to. Just remember to be kind to them. They probably weren't the ones who were putting in the numbers in the, they're just doing their job. Somebody else was probably entering in the information. So be kind to them. If they say they can't change it or do anything about it, tell them to put it back. But that's something that we have to be really careful for. Things are changing so fast that they are obviously not worrying about changing labels as fast as they are changing it in their system. So just another little tip there.
All right, so let's move on to gasoline. Now, everybody knows the price of gasoline has risen quite a lot over the last year. Between January and May of 2021, our average was $20.42. We were filling up once a month, and we do drive a hybrid car, so we do get pretty good gas mileage on that. But in 2022, between January and May, our gas consumption, spending has increased to $75.22 average per month. Now, one reason is because of prices, but another reason is because we're going over to the parks a lot more, visiting Disney Universal a lot more. But there has been huge increases in gas prices over the last year, and that's probably the biggest driver of that. So an average more of $54.80 per month that we're spending on gasoline for our vehicle.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to amenities. The cell phone, between January and May of 2021, our average cell phone bill was $249.18. We were with a different carrier then. We went with a new carrier, which we bundled with our home internet, which gave us a lower price on our cell phones. And now our average from January to May of 2022 is $121.84, which is a difference of $127.34. So you might want to, if you feel like your cell phone bill is too high, shop it around a little bit and see, if you have AT&T internet and you have Verizon service, if you can bundle those two together, then you can probably get a price break on your cell phone bill as well. So just shop around and see. Make people tell you no, and then keep shopping around and see if you can get a better deal on things. Because that's kind of what we did.
Also, if you are happy with your service, just call them and ask them what they can do for you.
Yeah.
And see if the fact that you've been loyal to them will mean anything. Also, there's a lot of cheaper phone services if you don't need a lot of bells and whistles with your phone service, like Straight Talk or something like that. We don't go with those because Joel gets a reimbursement for his cell phone that brings the actual amount that we really pay for myself and my son's phone down to about $20 a month, not the $120. That's the actual bill, but he gets a reimbursement. So we bring what we really spend down to about $21 and some odd change. So for us, why not? He needs all the bells and whistles for his job, so that works fine. So.
Yep. All right. So that's kind of where we are as far as inflation goes with our household expenses, groceries, gas, and amenities.
Just as a little note, the increases minus the things that we've actually decreased has actually kept it so that we aren't actually seeing an overall increase because we made cuts in other areas. So if you can figure out a way that if there's something that there's nothing you can do to get it lower, maybe look at some other things. One of the biggest ones, of course, is groceries.
Yep.
If you can decrease your groceries, and that's one of the ones that we have the most control over. Well, we can't do anything about the price of things. We can do something maybe about how we choose to buy.
That's right.
So be sure to check out those tips down in the description.
Drop us a comment below and let us know how inflation is going in your area. Some ways that you're trying to combat that. If your bills are going up or down, or however that's happened to you, just kind of let us know that in the comment. We'd love to hear that. If you have some money saving tips on how to save money during these inflationary times, drop us that comment below as well, because we'd love to hear that and share that with our viewers as well. All right, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for updates when we upload new videos on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes on the weekend, sometimes in between. Just kind of never know when we're going to drop one in there. But with that said, that's going to do it today for The Long Run with Joel and Christy. I'm Joel.
And I'm Christy.
Don't forget it's a long run. Give yourself a little grace.
Bye.